Kamala Harris's achievement is not being celebrated by all, both in the US and abroad, and amongst the British Asian community. Certain parts of the British Asian community. Jaspreet Singh is a Sikh community figure and director of the National Union of Students UK and joins me right now. Jaspreet Singh, good evening.
Hello, good evening. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Why are some within the British Sikh community not happy with Kamala Harris's election to Vice President?
I think, first of all, congratulations to Kamala Harris, Joe Biden. They ran a very beautiful campaign. They won. And on the other side, I will say the different perspectives. So one perspective is that actually we got a so-called Indian in a position. Now racism and other things may vanish or may get diminished. But then there's another perspective, which is from the liberatory perspective, which is it's not just about the humans, but it's about the system which perpetuates racism and which discriminate people. So the reason why, in some terms, Sikhs, they're a bit critical. I will not use the word not happy about Kamala Harris is because when she was senator, there was a person who applied for a position with a beard, and she was basically one of the main people who said actually Sikhs with beards, they may not be eligible for a certain type of employment. And I'm a PhD student, so my PhD is on being a Sikh and being in employment. And I think it's interesting that in the UK we got very progressive laws, but in the US she could have done better, and maybe she could have been less discriminatory in that instance.
Right, so you've taken us through the positives and then come to this particular point. In 2011, just to make it clear, in her role as California Attorney General, Kamala Harris ruled against a Sikh man's rights to keep a beard in his role as a prison guard. So that's something that is still hurtful to the Sikh community.
Yeah, of course, and I think there was a letter which was being sent and she should have apologized. But I think there's a deep thinking working behind it, so which is like being a Sikh, we can't live away from our 5Ks, and a beard and our natural hair are everything for us. So it's interesting that actually you may not be eligible for employment if you look certain way, if you want to practice your religion. And I think it really means a lot for us to be who we are, and that's a bit discriminatory. And I think I can say this is not just one case that should define Kamala Harris, but we're aware about it, and hopefully let's wait and see what she's got to bring to the table. But I will say another thing, which is under Trump administration, the attacks on Sikhs, the hate crime against Sikhs rose by 16%, so that was really bad. And I think you might be aware about ongoing issues of Sikhs being targeted after 9/11. There was a shooting in Wisconsin. So there's quite a lot of white supremacist attacks on Sikhs just because of who we are. And I think the idea about public acceptance, especially in employment, if she could have made that good decision, would have helped so many people.
Understandable. But going forward, now obviously Kamala Harris is in a completely different role. That was her as prosecutor, that was her as California Attorney General. Now in her new role, do you think perception of Kamala Harris within some sections of the Sikh community will change?
No, I think, of course, if you look at the campaign which was run for her and Biden, a lot of Sikhs participated in it. And I think it's good, at least Joe Biden and Kamala Harris with the progressive policies, they are there. But I think still, being a young Sikh, we're a bit critical because it's still that system which perpetuates racism. And it's interesting because we've seen in the history, no matter the faces may change, but I hope, I really, fingers crossed, if they can actually revolutionize and bring big changes which will help not only Sikhs, but Black people, natives, and so many other people who are basically being discarded for being who they are. So, yeah, so I think very much the Sikh ethos is standing up with everyone for being who they are and asking for Sarbat Dapala, which is well-being for everyone. So I hope she can be good in future. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and all the very best to you. It's amazing, and thankfully, very quickly before you go, how much advanced we are in the UK. I don't know what other term to use when it comes to having knowledge about the Sikh community generally, right? We overcame issues around the turban and employment decades ago in the UK, right? So, yes,
Exactly.
lots to learn there.
Yeah.
Jaspreet Singh, thank you so much, Jaspreet. All the very best.
Thank you so much. Have a
Cheers.
lovely
Bye-bye. Bye. You have a lovely evening too. Jaspreet Singh, Sikh community figure, also one of the directors in the NUS, National Union of Students UK, talking there about why some Sikhs are, how did he put it, not particularly happy with Kamala Harris's appointment because of that particular incident that he explained.